and welcome to this reading vlog. I'm Chanel, and this week I am reading books based on their covers. So pretty much I decided to go into a bookstore, have a browse around, and whatever caught my eye, that's the book I'm going to be reading. So I managed to find most of them. I took videos of quite a few, so some of them my library doesn't have yet. I will eventually read them, but I'm just going to read what they have. And one of them is Here Be Leviathans. So this is the this is the first one that I will be reading from the what caught my eye. I've just come back from the cafe that I went to. It was cute. The food was okay. Like, it's nice, but it's not one that I would put on my definitely come back to list. I'm trying to find a couple of cafes in each suburb that are amazing, and that way I can just be like, yeah, let's go for brunch here, let's do this. So it was fine, just wasn't didn't tick all my boxes. I also went to the library on the way home and I grabbed some books. So I got this one again, All the Little Bird Hearts, because as you know I accidentally returned this to the library, so I got it back. This one also caught my eye, One Moment, Life or Death, Love or Loss. It can all happen in one moment, so I have no idea what this one is about. But you beautiful girl, Sylvie, it caught my eye. And then this one, Ghost Theatre. So I've seen this in all of the bookstores, so I thought I would grab it, Ghost Theatre. So those are the books that I picked up from my library. Today I am starting my monthly reset. I'm doing a video for my other channel, Spirited Stardust, where I spend a month implementing practices that will hopefully help me feel a little better, increase my energy, because at the moment I'm quite blah, 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 blah. So this week I will be doing 15 minutes of meditation every day, and I'm also pulling a card out of my self-care oracle deck. Today's one was family, spend some quality time with family, so I might watch a movie with my kids today, I think, for some bonding. But I'm doing a different practice each week, sticking to it, giving my thoughts on whether it made me feel any better, and I'll be doing it for the whole month. So if you want to check that out, it'll be up in September sometime. But now I am just going to eat a yummy chocolate slice that I grabbed from the cafe on the way out. I like to do that, take something home with me to have with a cup of tea, because I have to now film and edit all of the monthly recaps for my books and for my other channel, my general life updates. So I'm doing the end of the month recaps, and that's going to take a while, so I'll be sitting at my desk. But I'm going to be starting with Here Be Leviathans. Okay, so I thought I'd give a quick update. I've just started reading Here Be Leviathans. It's a book of short stories. So far, the first short story, which is about a family of bears who sort of absorb the memories of the things they eat, not only animals, but human beings. It's messed up. It was pretty shocking and full on. So we'll see how this goes. But I was like, okay, that's starting out strong. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me update you on what I have read. So we'll start with Here Be Leviathans. This was an interesting read, my dudes. So in all of the stories, you've got a personified conscious being, whether it's an animal or an object. So for instance, there is an airline seat. So you get to see what it's like to be in the mind of an airline seat, of a space monkey, of a river, a gun, a fire. My favorite story, my absolute favorite story in this book though, hey Willow, was the family of Australian platypodes, or a platypus. I love that one. In the story, they decide to save a couple of German tourists from getting eaten by a croc, and I freaking loved it, listening to them banter with each other in a very Aussie dialogue vernacular. Them doing their artwork as well, they're artists, and they were just giving each other shit, and I loved it. So the platypus story was by far my favorite. The only story I didn't like at all was the last one because of the way it was written. So I'll just give you an example of what it sounds like. Security guard tonight is Wayne. He's okay. Not mean like some who ask Smurfs to do stuff so that they won't tell who's living in Blue Fountain. Worst is Jason Argonauts. He always comes to Blue Fountain and picks a girl Smurf for sucky sploshy. Asked me one time, but only one time, because I don't do sexy stuff, but he didn't know that. So I just grind my teeth and make sounds like I'm eating his thing like a sausage. And he says, forget it, no way, you need a shower, girl. You're cray-cray. Not bothered, don't care what Jason Argonauts thinks. I know things he doesn't know. If he did know, his head would explode. Maybe mine did, but it's still on my shoulders. Always had a good shed on my shoulders. That's what Mama said, good for brain boxing. And thinking fast, so fast, can't keep up where I was. Oh yeah, hi Wayne, you coming to next rave party? No, guess not. Have to protect our secret lair from Metro Clark County Rezoning Commission. So there is no grammar, there is no punctuation. It is just one gigantic sentence in that voice, and I just can't read books like that. They do my head in. So that's the only story I didn't like. Everything else was really interesting. Some of it was a bit graphic. There was some violence, there was some gore, but I enjoyed it. There was also a story about saber-tooths that had been brought back to life for a sort of Jurassic Park experience, and them deciding that they wanted to get the hell out of there and take down some of these rich wankers that pay millions to hunt dinosaurs. But like I said, it was really interesting, like the platypus story. What was the platypus story called? So the platypus story was called Monotreme. That was my favorite one. I recommend that one, but that was an interesting read. Then I read The Joy of Better Cooking. So I'll show you a little flip through now. This was interesting. I have definitely am going to try some of the recipes. The format is quite interesting because they also include like shortcuts, subs, notes about it, recipe riffs. So it was an interesting layout, interesting format, a decent selection of different recipes to try. It is heavily plant-based. I don't think there's any meat in there at all. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Okay, even the front page is a rainbow of veggies. So yeah, I will be trying out some recipes from this book. But I really like the illustration style on the front cover, so that's what drew me to it. The next book that I am reading is August Blue. I've already started it, and I am very intrigued. It's another book which also doesn't have punctuation marks for dialogue. I don't love that. It does require more brain work from me. I like to have it very simply laid out. But it's interesting enough. The main character is a pianist, and I really like her point of view and being in her head. And I'm interested to see where it goes. So far, so good in terms of choosing books by their covers. Today, I am going out to the cafe. I'm going to go for a walk in the sun because for my self-care card today, I pulled to go for a walk outside in nature for 15 minutes. And I plan to do that because it is a glorious winter's day. Absolutely beautiful. Served us up a stunner. So I will touch base with you later on. I did it again, guys. I filmed everything and then realized I wasn't filming. Why do I keep doing this? I'm not learning my lesson. So please excuse the pajamas. I have a date today with the Flash. I'm going to put my outfit on later. I just want to keep it fresh, you know, for the date. So let me tell you about the books I read again. First time for you, second time for me. So August Blue. No plot, just vibes. I loved the first half of this book, being in this concert pianist maestro's point of view. She's got blue hair, her name's Elsa. Yes, there are Frozen vibes with that. She is sort of roaming the world, just tutoring students on the heels of her tanking a concert that she had done. So she's in Greece, and that was by far my favorite. I just felt like I was there. I love the writing, even though there's no punctuation with the dialogue and stuff. I didn't mind. It was all kind of dreamlike in tone, in feeling. But the second half of the book, when she goes back to London, it started getting boring. It started feeling monotonous. There is sort of like a thing with her following this woman who she considers her double, who purchased these horses that she wanted to purchase, and in return the woman left behind her hat that she took. Nothing really comes of that. Don't be in this for the plot. It's just her musing on her upbringing and life in general. So I've given it 3 stars. 3 stars for me is still good. It means I still enjoyed my time. So don't take my 3 stars as like, oh, she hated it. No. I didn't dislike it. I liked it, but it's the bottom of my like rating. So that was August Blue. And then I read Chrysalis. Okay, I've rated this 4 stars. So I liked this book. This book is no plot, just characters. This is all focused on character. So in this book, you have a nameless woman who is undergoing a metamorphosis. She's had a difficult childhood, an abusive relationship, and you see her transforming herself in all aspects into this different person being. And you're seeing this done through the perspectives of 3 other characters. So you're never in this nameless woman's point of view. The first character is a man named Elliot, who's very quiet, shy, a bit odd, and is at the gym, and that's how he meets the nameless woman, and they sort of form a relationship. His point of view was my least favorite. Then you go into the mother, Bella's point of view, and oh my god, her section was just breathtakingly beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time, because she's got this child who is, I guess, a difficult child. This child has medical conditions in the beginning that nobody can explain, and you go and you see her blaming herself, like somehow it's her fault. She wasn't a good enough mother, and that is why her child is suffering, because if she was a good enough mother, her child wouldn't have this issue. Just all of these things, and having her child start to pull away from her as she grows up, and her wanting even more than to connect, to love her, and that pushing the child even further away. I absolutely adored reading this mother's point of view. It was stunning and beautiful, and like I said, it got me right in the feels. So that was my favorite point of view. And then you've got the co-worker slash friend, I've forgotten her name, I feel like it starts with a T, and how she'd gone from just obviously viewing her from afar at work, and then having the nameless character go to her for help when she wants to leave her abusive partner, and that co-worker taking on a caretaker role where she just really loves providing and nurturing her friend. I will say, even with all the different perspectives of this nameless woman is not a likable character. The reader is not endeared to her whatsoever. Even despite that, the only character that I really, really liked was the mother. The writing was beautiful, and I just enjoyed the ride, going along with it, even though there was no real plot. You know, you sort of feel like, oh, is this going to be a cult thing? But once again, this is more for the writing and more from just the experiencing of a character through outside perspectives. But I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and I would probably consider reading this author's other works because I do like their writing style. The next book I'm picking up, very fortuitous. I was going to grab it from my library, but I got a edition in. This is Fairy Loot. So this is the cover, because it caught my eye even without the, this one's got metallic on it. This one also has frayed edges, but this was a fantasy that caught my eye. And I'll show you the insides. This is a beautiful edition. I have cancelled my YA box subscription though, Fairy Loot. This is a reversible cover, so if you like this cover more, you could do this one. because they're just so expensive. So all of these like Illumicrate and Fairy Loot edition books that come to Australia, it's like $75 per book. So I was like, look, what's the chances that I'm going to have a 5-star YA? Probably not. I think this is signed as well, is it? Yes, it is. So I've got this book that I'm going to read next. So yeah, I've put myself on the wait list for the adult Fairy Loot edition, because the reason being that when I read a 5-star book, I found that the special editions of them, the Fairy Loot and Illumicrates, people sell them for like $150, $200 each. And I'm like, man, that's doubling, tripling price if you were in Australia. But people in the UK and America, it's a better pricing for you guys. It's just we get done on the shipping and the conversion rate. Australia does not come out pretty in that aspect. I've still got my Illumicrate adult fantasy. I just got one of the YA because it came up and I was like, oh, I just want to test it out once to see if I like how they do their books, and I do. So I will definitely, hopefully get on the adult one. But this is like a stunning, beautiful cover. I have found so far with books that catch my eye, besides August Blue, the other 3 have been pink and greens. So if a book has pink and green, my eye is drawn to it, it seems. But this is a fantasy book about the Moirai, which is the Greek fates, you know, that are to do with the weaving. You've got the spinner, the weaver, and the cutter. And here we've got, and this is about, I guess, the reincarnations of them. Yep, descended from the fates. So I love that. It's got a Greek waltz by Kika Hatzopoulou. So I love anything about Greek mythology. We'll see if this one's a winner, because as you know, I have not yet read a retelling of a Greek mythology that I like. So hopefully this delivers. At the very least, it's beautiful. My daughter's like, well, even if you hate the book, I'm going to keep it and display it on my bookshelf. So very, very pretty cover. After that one, I've got one nonfiction that I do want to read called Elixir, because I wanted to, besides the joy of cooking, I consider cookbooks separate to nonfiction. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but it's its own category. So I wanted to chuck a nonfiction in there. So that will be the next one I read. And then I'm going to do my honorable mentions of other books that did catch my eye, but were not available at my library, so I couldn't add them to this list. But so far, it's been pretty good. The average rating, I think, is over 3.5. So because obviously I didn't rate the cookbook. And that's pretty good. That's good for me. Anything else over 3.5 in general, like on average, that's a good week. But I will touch base with you after I get back from my date and once I've read some of this beauty. Okay, so I am back. I feel like this is crooked. I'm gonna just adjust it in editing. Okay, so I met with the Flash. They were right on time, fantastic. He paid for my coffee and my little slice of cake, which was very generous. Hello. So, one second, I've got to say hello. I've come back from the date. He was on time. He paid for my coffee and my slice of cake, which was very nice. As I'd said previously, our online conversations were really good, and I wanted to see if we still had that mental connection in person, and we did. The dialogue was effortless. It was so easy to talk to him. We synced up. We have very similar point of views, and the energy I had with him just felt very familiar, very effortless. However, there was something physically that I was just looking at him thinking, there's something familiar here. There's something I can't quite put my finger on. And then halfway through the date, I realized he kind of looks like my dad when my dad was young. And as soon as I made that correlation, I was like, okay, I think this is why there is no physical attraction and chemistry. Even though he's a handsome person, my dad was a very handsome boy, not for me. So that really sucks, because now I'm going to have to like send the text saying, hey, you're a really cool person. I loved our conversations. It was a fun date. I enjoyed myself, but I just don't feel a romantic connection, unfortunately. So that was the thing. And it sucked, because at the end of the day, he wanted my number. He wanted to go out again. I had to be like, oh, I just need some time to process everything. And already I could feel like he felt rejected, because it's true. If I knew straight away, like, oh, we're connecting on all levels of physical attraction, mental attraction, and sexual, I would have said yes to a second date. You know, I would have given him my number, but if it's not there, it's not there. And like I said, as easy going and as instant as our connection was, like I said, mentally and on a friendship level, romantically, no, I can't do it. So That really sucks. At the moment there's no one else, so back to just living my life. I have read 70 pages of the threads that bind. I don't know, it's okay so far. It's a bit, let's solve the murder mystery. It's feeling a bit insta-lovey because the main character has a love thread connecting her to this very handsome but dangerous man, and she's trying to fight against the attraction that it's causing. I'm going to continue with it though. It could turn around, but it's just a bit slow at the moment, even though there was already a murder and a close call with the murderer. But it's just feeling a little young. You know, it is YA, so YA is hit or miss to me. It has to have like amazing writing, amazing story, amazing characters, and not be too young for me to really like it. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to continue on. I think I'm going to give it 150 pages and then decide how am I feeling. If I'm feeling more in the 3-star area, I will just DNF it. But I'm going to give that a read. Oh, she's so cute. You can't see her, but she's adorable. I'm going to give that a read today. So I'll touch base with you later on. Hello. So I have finished reading The Threads That Bind. Man, I decided to keep going till the end because at 150 pages, even though I still wasn't absorbed by the book, I did want to know how it ended. There was kind of like a mystery of who was controlling the race that were killing everybody. It is a 3-star. It's a 3-star and I'm bummed because this is such a pretty book. It's a 3-star for me. It's just the pacing was very slow. The book was very info dumpy. Sylvie. Change in location. The book was very info dumpy. There was a lot of information. The characters themselves, I didn't feel connected to any of them. Not a single one. The romance in this was very dry. I didn't care for it. It's one of those fated romances, but the character in question already had a girlfriend. I don't know about other people, but I don't want to read about lovers who start off with one of them being in a relationship. I don't like that. I don't want anybody to leave anybody that they love and that they're already with because of a fated pairing. So for me, this just didn't hit, even though it had an interesting concept with, like I said, people being descended from the gods. And it wasn't just Greek gods, it was gods of all different cultural backgrounds. So that was cool. But the way the system too in the world was set up, it was very confusing. And because, like I said, it was info dumpy, it was just too much. They were trying to tell you everything all at once instead of showing. It was just telling you. So you just kept feeling like you had to do homework, like learn as if you're in school. So now we're learning about the Furies, and now we're learning about these ones, and now we're learning about this and this and this and this. It just wasn't done in a way that was entertaining and easy to read. It was a struggle to get through, and it's only 340 pages, which I guess is still a lot, but this book took me quite a while to finish. And like I said, it only really got interesting for me at the end. Just the pacing was off, and because I didn't connect to any of the characters, even when things were revealed, I didn't care. I just didn't care. So I'm giving it 3. Like, it's okay, but unfortunately, yeah, this was average. As pretty as it is, it didn't have the substance to back up its looks. So the next book that I'm reading is going to be the nonfiction one. So I'll put a picture up here and I will touch base with you when I have read that book. Hello. So let me update you on the other book that I read. So I did read Elixir. I DNF'd it after 50 pages. So this book is a nonfiction book. It's about an area in the Balkans. The author has ancestry from that area, and they're talking about the land, the plants that grow there, how it connects to the folklore, the traditions, the culture. The writing is very storytelling, lyrical-ish. The issue I had was that it had no structure. So it was very meandering. She might start by talking about blueberries and then she talks about something else and then that leads on to something else. And I think this was more of just not the right time. This is a book that you have to take your time with and you just languorously read it and let yourself sort of flow with the river wherever the writing takes you. Whereas, I'm just not in that space right now. It was a library book, so I have a time crunch and I thought, this is not the book that I can read quickly. Like, those 50 pages took me 2 days. So it just wasn't for me at this time, but I could see how many people would really enjoy the the ride of this book, the journey, the storytelling aspect. But just like I said, at this point in time, it's not for me. So I also wanted to shout out to some other books that caught my eye at the bookstore, but that my library didn't currently have. That was Audition, Talking at Night, and Sad Girl Novel. So these three also were quite striking. I have learned from the book cover week that I am very drawn to pink and green. I think that is very apparent. Pink and green stands out to me. I'm drawn to very like sort of geometrical covers that feature shapes, that feature bright pops of color. Most of the books that caught my eye cover-wise were lit fic, which is not a genre I read a lot from. I did enjoy some of those reads this week, but I did find that most of the covers were lit fic books. But overall, I had a pretty decent experience. I think my average rating was just under 3.5, which is fine. You know, that's fine. Like I said, there was the 4-star with Chrysalis, so that was great. And I really did also enjoy Here Be Leviathans, even though it was a bit uncomfortable. It was uncomfy sometimes, but it was interesting. It was something different. So those are all the books that I read this week. I hope that wherever you are having a stunning morning, afternoon, or evening. And as always, stay wild, star child.